Vietcong was a tactical first-person shooter that was released on the PC in 2003. In 2004, there was an expansion pack released for this game, for which some reason was ported to consoles, entitled Vietcong Purple Haze. As you can probably tell, the game is set during the Vietnam War and sees you take control of a generic group of soldiers through some of the most boring missions I've ever played. My usual approach to reviewing a game has gone out the window with this one, as it almost doesn't feel like a game that's worth critiquing. After looking into the original Vietcong on the PC, it is very clear to me that a relatively small developer back in the early 2000s decided to make a shooter that was quite slow and methodical and wanted to put strategy first. From what I can see from the PC version of Vietcong, it looked like a decent game at the time. However, the same could not be said at all for the expansion pack that was ported to consoles. I think the best word to sum up Vietcong Purple Haze is budget. The team that made the original Vietcong didn't have a large budget, and there was even less of a budget when porting the game to the Xbox and PlayStation 2. This is a great shame in my opinion, as I actually really enjoy shooters that have more of a focus on tactics than the all guns blazing approach. Vietcong Purple Haze has some really nice ideas that are weighed down by the game's poor quality. For example, it forces you to use each of your squad members for navigation, healing, ammo and more. Your medic can patch you up after a fight, but your health bar gets a little smaller each time, adding a lot of weight to the hits that you take. Your point man can scout ahead and reveal the location of enemies and traps. These are all really good mechanics to add to a game to make it more interesting. The problem with all of this is that the developer's good intent is ruined by its budget execution. As soon as you pick up your controller and jump into the first mission, you immediately realise that the controls have not been altered in any way for console. The shooting is genuinely awful, and not because it's a shooter that was released in 2004, but because your aiming reticule is tiny and clearly built for the precision of a mouse and not an analog stick. Just trying to hit your target with the PS2 controller is a chore, and leaves you feeling like the most incompetent soldier in the world. The AI of your teammates is downright hilarious at times, as they occasionally are unable to walk around each other, and they pretty much prove to be useless in a firefight. The game has also had a bit of a visual downgrade from its PC counterpart, meaning whether you're playing it in 2018 or when it was originally released in 2004, the game's flat textures just look ugly. The presentation in general is quite bad, as there aren't really any cutscenes to explain what's going on from one mission to the next, and worst of all, when the missions end, they just end. No, seriously, just watch this. I've not seen anything like that since the SNES days. Now, I know it's very easy for me to point out the flaws of a budget title that is now 14 years old, and there's definitely enough people on the internet, and especially on YouTube, screaming about bad games, so I do my best to not go down the path of, haha, look at this, isn't this all terrible? I want to be fair when looking at these games, as I believe context is everything. As I said at the start, the best word to sum up this game is budget, and when playing Vietcong Purple Haze, its budget is immediately evident. The objective of this channel is to help people find good games for their retro collection, and it is with great shame that I say Vietcong Purple Haze is a game with some good ideas that simply didn't have enough money or time behind it. So, unless you're like me and take some enjoyment from playing genuinely bad games, Vietcong Purple Haze is not worth your time.